Welcome to MTG Friends, I'm Ryan, and we are doing another Commander deck tech for Meren of Clan Nel Toth. We are gonna be talking about a competitive EDH build in this episode. However, for budgetary considerations and swaps, I will be talking about those throughout the episode. And that will knock it down from a competitive EDH deck more into the competitive casual/casual, depending on how many swaps you do. All right, so let's talk about the categories. We got ramp. Gonna need some serious ramp in this. Some land, graveyard play, which is what we're building all of this around, the graveyard. We got some shenanigans, of course, because I love me some shenanigans. We got draw, removal, combos, and control, along with a little protection. All right, so let's talk about this commander. And we're going to really dive into this commander because I want to make sure that you understand exactly what we're dealing with and what we're up to with Clan Nel Toth. It is a 4-drop in Golgari colors, 3/4 body, legendary creature, human shaman. Whenever another creature you control dies, you get an experience counter. We'll get into that in just a second. At the beginning of your end step, choose target creature card in your graveyard. If that card's converted mana cost is less than or equal to the number of experience counters you have, return it to the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. All right, so experience counters. Now, when Meren is on the battlefield and it triggers, that means you, the player, get an experience counter, not Meren of Clan Nel Toth. Because when Meren of Clan Nel Toth gets wiped off the battlefield and ends up back in your command zone or wherever else, if for some crazy reason you put it in the graveyard in your hand, whatever. When it ends up not being on the battlefield, you retain those experience counters. So that is excellent. That's what makes Meren of Clan Nel Toth so incredibly powerful. So when you get it back onto the battlefield for the second time, third time, whatever, you still have those experience counters and they keep building and building and building, which then we get to keep pulling stuff out of our graveyard and putting it back onto the battlefield. Have I belabored this enough? Yes, I have. Let's move on to the categories. And apparently Architect wants us to start with ramp, so that's what we'll do. Now we are running real lean on the land because that is typical of a cEDH deck. But we got a lot of staples in green for the ramp, and here we go with Birds of Paradise to start off. Birds of Paradise, I mean, yeah, of course. Serious ramp right there. Right there. Carpet of Flowers because, you know, statistically, you're going to be dealing with blue deck players. It is a 1-drop enchantment in green during your mana phase. You may add up to X mana of one color to your mana pool, where X is the number of islands target opponent controls. Yes, very good. Very efficient card. All right, Chrome Mox. Imprint, whenever Chrome Mox comes into play, you may remove a non-artifact, non-land card in your hand from the game. Add 1 mana of any of the imprinted cards' colors to your mana pool. And of course, it costs you nothing to drop. Very efficient, very rampalicious card. Now, in terms of budget, you can certainly swap this out for another Mana Dork or something. I mean, there are other things you can do instead of running a few of these rather expensive ramp cards. Elves of the Deep Shadow. I mean, yeah, tap it for black. It mana fixes in the black category. Costs you 1 ping damage. Not a big deal. All right, Elvish Mystic. Again, you tap for 1 green. Fyndhorn Elves. Again, tap for 1 green. All right, Lion's Eye Diamond. We're running this for 2 reasons. One, for the ramp of it, but also because it costs you nothing to drop, and it helps put things into the graveyard because we are running things out of the graveyard. Now, in terms of budgetary swaps, you can certainly swap this out because if you have it, you run it, but if you don't need to be dropping 350 bucks on Lion's Eye Diamond. I mean, come on, guys. Or girls, for that matter. So, I mean, you can certainly swap this out for some other rampalicious card. I think I said Rampalicious twice in this episode. That's seriously crazy. All right, Land War Elves. It is a 1-drop in green, and it taps for 1. Oldie but goodie. Great mana dork. Mana Crypt. Oh, what a great card. It is a free soul ring that costs you 3 life if you lose a flip. I mean, come on. Really? Let's do that. Let's do that. All right, Mox Diamond. We all know why this is here. It is crazy. When Mox Diamond comes into play, choose and discard a land card or sacrifice Mox Diamond. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Play this ability as a mana source. Again, this is another one of those where, yes, if you have it, of course you're going to run it. But if you don't go spend the exorbitant amount of money to go get a Mox Diamond. I mean, unless you're going to be taking this deck to competition or something, then yeah, you might want to consider putting everything that we're recommending in so that you have the competitive edge, or at least you can keep up. With that said, I do digress. Wow, I got super serious there. This is not about being serious. All right, Mox Diamond. You can certainly swap this out for another mana rock. Absolutely. Absolutely. Whew, I'm on a roll. Soul Ring. Of course you're going to run a Soul Ring. Why wouldn't you run a Soul Ring? Run a Soul Ring. Utopia Sprawl. I love this card. Boy, I remember playing back in these days. It's not from Masters 25. Isn't this from Dissension? Yeah, I thought so. Dissension originally. Enchant Forest, as Utopia Sprawl comes into play, choose a color. Well, you're going to be choosing black or green depending on what kind of mana situation you got. Whenever Enchanted Forest is tapped for mana, its controller adds 1 mana of the chosen color to his or her mana pool. Yes, sir. Yes, thank you. Give me extra mana. Wild Growth. Enchant land for 1. Wild Growth adds 1 green to your mana pool each time target land is tapped for mana. So we got a couple little synergies going on throughout this deck that will be able to lever that pretty nicely. All right, Arbor Elf. We can, for 1, untap target forest. All right, we are into some combo secciones. Well, Carrion Feeder, we build a lot of things around Carrion Feeder because Carrion Feeder can't block, which, okay, we don't care about that. Sacrifice a creature, put a 1/1 counter on Carrion Feeder. So we can tease this out of the graveyard or drop it from our hand. And with a lot of our graveyard play, we're going to be able to make this thing super beefy, super big, and swing for a whole lot of damage. So Carrion Feeder is definitely a staple in this build. Earthcraft. So tap an untapped creature you control, untap target basic land, and it costs you 2 to get that down. Now, this combos up swimmingly with Squirrel Nest, and that is Enchant Land. Enchant Land has tap, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Oh boy. So tap an untapped creature you control, which is the squirrel you just made, untap target basic land, which is the one that Squirrel Nest is on. Now you have infinite squirrels. Oh boy, gosh almighty. And then you could start sacking them with Carrion Feeder and have an infinitely large Carrion Feeder. And oh, if it has haste or it doesn't have summoning sickness, oh, and there's no blockers, oh boy. Yep, see what I'm going after there? See what I'm going after there? Before we move on, if you are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the alert so you don't miss any of our content. And if you are a subscriber, well, thank you. Thank you for being one. All right, moving on. Destiny Spinner. It's 2-drop enchant creature. Human. 2/3. Creature and enchantment spells you control can't be countered. Hee hee. That deserves a little Simpsons. Hee hee. Oh yes, indeed. Indeedly do. It actually wasn't Homer Simpson, right? Who does that? Put it in the comments because I'm forgetting at the moment. All right, for 4, it's target land you control becomes an XX elemental creature with trample and haste until end of turn, where X is the number of enchantments you control. It's still land. So mainly we have this in here so that our creatures can't be countered. But hey, that other last part is kind of like this little bonus that maybe we can use under the right circumstances. All right, Malira Silvok Outcast is definitely in here for that competitive EDH play is you can't get poison counters. Creatures you control can't have -1/-1 counters placed on them. Creatures your opponents control lose in fact. Booyah! Now, this is a completely swappable card. If the meta that you play in and the groups that you play in aren't running in fact, just swap this bad boy out. However, if you're going into competitive play, you definitely want to consider keeping this in because it's going to help you with any of that infect shenanigans that's out there. And yes, it's out there in that dark, dark EDH world. Sylvan Safekeeper for 1. Sacrifice a land. Target creature you control can't be the target of spells or abilities this turn. So let's say you have a super beefy Carrion Feeder out there and you're swinging for the rafters and you just need that little bit of protection. Well, hopefully you have Safekeeper out there and he protects it like a champ. And then you get to just pull it out of your graveyard because, you know, you have Nel Toth out, right? Right? So you can just keep reanimating this thing and keep protecting your creatures. Oh, this thing has some serious synergy. Veil of Summer. Oh, love this card. What a staple. What a great card. Veil of Summer. Just out of M20, and then it got banned in like a bunch of formats because it was so janky awesome. I don't buy the fact that this thing should have been banned, but you know what? Whatever. Whatevs. All right, it's an instant draw card. If an opponent has cast a blue or black spell this turn, spells you control can't be countered this turn. You and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and from black until end of turn. Boo! I almost said booyah, but then I was going to say beautiful, but then I was going to say awesome, awesomeness. Whatever. You probably already know what this card does, and you know why you run it. Ancient Tomb. Oh, we're in the land now. Ancient Tomb, just a great ramp card. Gives you 2 colorless, costs you 2 damage. Bayou. Oh, Golgari, old school, original gangsta dual land. Of course, swap this out for another dual land of your choosing. If you don't have the 400 or whatever dollars to drop on this thing as of this recording, you can get it for way cheaper than that. But yeah, okay, yeah, for sure, Z's. Just swap it if you need to. There are other dual lands that come in tapped, etc., etc. However, keep it in there if you're going for that cEDH thing. cEDH thing! And we are running a bunch of fetch lands. So, fetch lands equals good. All right, pay 1 life, sacrifice Bloodstained Mire, search your library for a swamp or a mountain. Well, we're going for a swamp, yo. Going for a swamp. City of Brass. Whenever City of Brass becomes tapped, it deals 1 damage. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool because we definitely want to make sure we have the right colors of mana going into this. Command Tower. Of course you're going to run Command Tower. Why wouldn't you? Dryad Arbor. This is one of those fancy cards back from Future Side. Oh, I was playing heavy back then. This is Dryad Arbor is green, and you can tap for green, and it's a 1/1 critter. Oh, just so cool. You can keep pinging them with this if everything else is wiped off the board. Super cool card. Super cool card. Plus, it's a forest. That's pretty interesting. Exotic Orchard. This is tap for any color a land an opponent controls could produce. All right, we're running 6 forests. Gaia's Cradle. Oh my goodness. If you have a bunch of squirrels out, can you imagine having, oh, I don't know, infinite green mana at your disposal, at your fingertips? Oh, what a janky, crazy card. So, for budgetary reasons, by all means, swap this out for, I don't know, a forest or another dual land for that matter. Gemstone Caverns. If Gemstone Caverns is in your opening hand and you're not playing first, you may begin the game with Gemstone's Cavern in play with a luck counter on it. If you do, remove a card in your hand from the game. So yeah, just like it says, a little luck, you have it in your opening hand, that's pretty bueno. Add 1 colors to your mana pool if Gemstone Caverns has a luck counter on it. Instead, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. All right, you can easily swap this out. It's fine. Just swap it out if you need to. Otherwise, keep it in if you're doing EDH competitively. Landwar Wastes. Add Golgari colors, and it deals you 1 damage to you. And when I say colors, I mean one or the other. All right, Mana Confluence. pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Marsh Flats, another fetch land, is gonna go get you a swamp. Alright, Misty Rainforest, gonna go get you a forest. Nurturing Peatland, sacrifice Nurturing Peatland, draw a card. Or you can pay 1 and add black or green. Alright, Overgrown Tomb, Shockland, yeah, you're gonna run that. Of course. Phyrexian Tower. You can sack a creature and add black to your mana pool. And we will have creatures to sack. I promise. I promise you will. Polluted Delta. You can get it for that swamp you might need. Prismatic Vista. Well, another fetch land. Go grab the basic land cards you need. Swamps, we're running 3. Twilight Mire. This is definitely land fixin', mana fixin'. It is colorless, or you can play green or black and tap it to add black, green, or green. Very efficient, very effective. And Verdant Catacombs. That's the one where you can fetch a forest or a swamp. Yes, sir. And Windswept Heath. You can go fetch yourself a forest. Go fetch yourself a forest. Oh boy, what happened there? Alright, another fetch land. Alright, we are into graveyard play. When you play Animate Dead, choose target creature card in any graveyard. When Animate Dead comes into play, put that creature into play, and Animate Dead becomes a creature enchantment that targets the creature. Enchanted creature gets -1, -0. If an Animate Dead leaves play, bury the creature. So that's just old school text that basically just says, hey, go grab a creature in any graveyard. It's yours for a -1 power. All right, Urza's Destiny card. It's Apprentice Necromancer. It is a wizard 1/1. You can pay 1 black and tap, sacrifice Apprentice Necromancer, return target creature card from your graveyard to play. That creature gains haste at end of turn. Sacrifice it. So go fetch your Carrion Feeder, which gives it haste, and start sacking a bunch of crap that you have all over the board, and he swings in for an exorbitant amount of damage. Or you can go grab and fetch something else if Carrion Feeder isn't in your graveyard for some reason. Alright, Body Snatcher, another type of graveyard play. It is 4-drop 2/2 minion. When Body Snatcher comes into play, you may choose and discard a creature card from your hand. If you don't, remove Body Snatcher from the game. So this is again about getting stuff into our graveyard to play around with our graveyard. When Body Snatcher is put into a graveyard from play, remove Body Snatcher from the game and return target creature card from your graveyard to play. Super effective for graveyard. Buried Alive. Ooh, I had an itchy nose. Moving on. For 3, you search your library for up to 3 creature cards, put them into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. So you can go grab utility creatures, or you can go grab, those Carrion Feeders, etc., etc., etc. Entomb, search your library for a card and put that card into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. Costs you a measly 1 black. Because we want stuff in our graveyard, folks. Eternal Witness. This is to go fetch something out of our graveyard and put it into your hand. Footsteps of the Goryo. I wonder if I said that right. A 3-drop arcane sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to play. Sacrifice that creature at the end of the turn. Grim Flare. What a sinister sounding name. It's a Golgari drop with black-green. Trample human warrior for a 2/2 body. Whenever Grim Flare deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest back on top of your library in any order. And it does have Delirium, which just means that he gets +2/+2 as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. Alright, more graveyard play. Alright, Masticore for 2. As an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card to fill your graveyard. For 4, Lesser Masticore deals 1 damage to target creature. And it's got Persist, which just means it's going to come back out of your graveyard when it dies with a -1/-1 counter on it. Oh, Persist. So persistent. Ah, I see how they did that. Alright, Life and Death. And mostly we're concerned with Death, But life until end of turn. All lands you control are 1/1 creatures that are still lands. And death is return target creature card from your graveyard to play. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. All right, Necromancy. Oh man, this one's got a lot of words. Here we go. All right, for 3, it's an enchantment. You may choose to play Necromancy as an instant. If you do, bury it at the end of the turn. When you play Necromancy, choose target creature card in any graveyard. When Necromancy comes into play, put that creature into play as though it were just played, and Necromancy becomes a creature enchantment that targets the creature. If Necromancy leaves play, bury the creature. Whew, those old school cards with those old school words. Oh yeah, that's from Visions. Visions. All right, well, you know what we're doing there. We're snaking stuff out of graveyards. Loving it, loving it. Speaking of snaking stuff out of graveyards, the just awesomeness Maximus of them all. Reanimate, cost you a measly 1. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. Now, before we keep moving, make sure you put some comments in the comment section. We like answering questions or seeing what people have to say. Anything and everything, you know, maybe talk about what we're talking about, but I'm not going to make you. I mean, do whatever. And of course, oh, wait, subscribe if you're new. But I already said that earlier. All right, moving on. Oh, and if you're still here with us, kudos to you. 2 thumbs up. If you put a comment in, I'm going to give you like a special merit badge or something. I swear I will. Viscera Seer for 1. It's a creature, vampire, wizard, sacrifice creature. Scry! 1. So just a good way of start filtering your deck. Collector Ouphe. I think I said it right. It almost sounds French. What? Ouphe. Oh, for 2. Oh, yeah, it's a 2/2. It's an Ouphe creature. Activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. So this is a way to hate on your opponent that might have combos or activated shenanigans going on. Oh, I love it. Love me some Ouphe. Oh yeah, and we're in control. I probably should have mentioned that 1 card ago, but I didn't. Oh well, we're gonna keep this live. We're gonna keep rolling, folks. Null Rod for 2. Artifact. This is a serious hate card. Players cannot play any artifact abilities requiring an activation cost. Boom, shalaka laka. Cut down some of those combos with the basalt monolith, crapola, etc., etc. Yeah. What? Great card. Tangle Wire. It's another hate card. Hateful card. It's for 3, fading 4. This artifact comes into play with 4 fade counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a fade counter from it. If you can't, sacrifice it. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player taps an untapped artifact, creature, or land he or she controls for each fade counter on Tangle Wire. We like this because we're going fast. We're exploding really quickly, and to be able to shut people down, especially in the early game, is groovalicious. All right, this is into the shenanigans section, and what greater shenanigans card than Birthing Pod? Holy shnikes. It's a 3 colors Phyrexian, just means you can pay with 2 life. Instead of paying the green. And then for a colorless Phyrexian, you sacrifice creature, search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. Put that card on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. Oh, Birthing Pod is so fantastic. I'm not going to delve deep into what Birthing Pod does, but you get to keep fetching bigger and bigger creatures. If you have additional questions about Birthing Pod, put in the comments. Moving right along. Disciple of the Vault for 1. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from play, you may have target opponent lose 1 life. Oh, you're going to start ticking down their lives pretty quickly, pretty efficiently, especially with board clears and that kind of stuff. So, great shenanigans card. Mind Slicer for 4. When Mind Slicer is put into a graveyard from play, each player discards his or her hand. Yeah, you want to keep stuff out of their hands, keep all that stuff going. Mind Slicer's gonna get you there, get you there, get you there. Plus, we're all about getting stuff out of the graveyard so we can keep grabbing Mind Slicer if you need it for those utility cards. Great utility creature for keeping other opponents at bay. Loving it, yo. Loving it. I just yo'd you. I yo'd you. What? Ionia! Yeah, okay, I digress. That's twice I've digressed in this episode. No more digressions. Digressing. Oran Frost Fang. For a 5-drop, 2/6 attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. Oh, can you imagine all those squirrels coming at him with Death Touch? Whoa! Love it. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Plus the draw mechanic. That is some serious shenanigans. Oran Frostfang is just a very cool card. You should play in like most of your green builds and definitely has a place in this deck. The shizzle. Protean Hulk. Oh, of course we're gonna add this one to this crazy cEDH deck with Nel Toth. It's whenever Protean Hulk is put into a graveyard from play, search your library for any number of creature cards with total converted mana cost 6 or less and put them into play, then shuffle your library. Boy, you combo this thing up and you keep reanimating it and pulling it out, and then you got enough counters. Oh, it's just, Protean Hulk is like a definite include in this kind of a build. Very awesomeness Maximus. Yawgmoth Thran Physician. What an insane card this thing is. It is a legendary creature human cleric, protection from humans, which, whatever. Pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, like that. Put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature and draw a card. For 2 black, discard a card and proliferate. Just an amazing utility card that is going to do lots of stuff depending on what you're up against. Especially if they have stuff that you just got to get some -1 counters on to get it off of the board. This is definitely going to do it for you. All right, we are into removal, and we got plenty of it. All right, Abrupt Decay. It's Golgari colors. Abrupt Decay can't be countered by spells or abilities. Destroy target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. So that's going to help us stabilize in the early game, even mid-game for that matter. Great include for removal. Assassin's Trophy is an awesome removal card because it's a permanent, so that can include a land. It can include an artifact, a creature, etc., etc. They get to fetch a basic land for their troubles. Caustic Caterpillar costs you Musey 1. You can spend 2 and sack it to destroy target artifact or enchantment. Deathrite Shaman is going to help you get rid of stuff in their graveyards that you need to if you have to. And you can tap it to exile target land card from a graveyard, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Might be relevant. That will definitely help with those fetch lands that we have in the build. You can just use those to start giving you extra mana if you need it. And then for black, you tap it, exile an instant or sorcery, and each opponent loses 2 life. But most importantly in this card is for green, tap, exile target creature card from a graveyard, you gain 2 life. That may be super important depending on what kind of decks you're playing against. All right, Force of Vigor. 4-drop instant. If it is not your turn, you can exile a green card from your hand rather than pay this spell's mana cost. And if you have seen our other episodes, you know how much I love free costing cards. Destroy up to 2 target artifacts or enchantments. And or. Shouldn't say or. Yeah, and or. Alright, Minister of Pain. You can exploit this thing. It costs you 3, it's a 2/3, and it is when this creature enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice a creature. When Minister of Pain exploits a creature, creatures your opponents control, and that's all of them, get -1/-1 until end of turn. What a great utility card. And notice it's opponents, as in plural, as in all of them. Very cool, especially for some of those sticky creatures they might have. All right, so Roni. We have Plaguecrafter for 3. Whenever Plaguecrafter enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Each player who can't discards a card. And we don't really care so much about the discarding of a card because we want stuff in our graveyard. So this really doesn't have a downside for us. Plus, we're all about sacking creatures anyways. So, hey, play this in the right way and it is super efficient. Reclamation Sage for 3. It's a 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. Toxic Deluge, kind of like a Holy shnikes, things are going wrong and I need a board clear bad. And they have indestructible, they have all sorts of shenanigans going. As an additional cost to cast this spell, pay X life. All creatures get -X until end of turn. Fantastic include in black builds for sure, and it goes swimmingly in this 99 for sure. All right, Dark Confidant. We are into draw. Human Wizard 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. Great include in black. This is run in every black deck I can think of that needs that draw mechanic in it. Demonic Tutor, the most effective Awesomus Maximus tutor card in black, if you ask me. Vampiric Tutor, close second. Search your library for your card and put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. And I love the fact that it goes into your hand. Diabolic Intent, also for 2. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a card and put that card in your hand. So, just the same as the other one, you just got to sack something. Eldritch Evolution for 3, sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Eldritch Evolution, sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less, where X is 2 plus the sacrifice creature converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Exile Eldritch Evolution. This goes very effectively into this build. It is a great include. All right, this is Finale of Devastation. Yep, we're running Finale. Search your library and or graveyard for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less and put it into the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If X is 10 or more, creatures you control get +X and gain haste until end of turn. So all your creatures get haste. Ooh-wee, let's say your combos are going off and then you need to give them haste. This is the way to do it. Oh man, is that awesome? Yes, it is. Green Sun's Zenith, another great fetch. Search your library for a green creature card with converted mana cost X or less. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Shuffle Green Sun's Zenith into its owner's library. Alright, Imperial Seal. Search your library for any one card, shuffle your library, and put that card on top of it. You lose 2 life. So, folks, yes, you can absolutely swap this out. Heck, you can even swap this out for a Vampiric Tutor, and you're going to get the same thing happening. So, just a very efficient cEDH card, but by no means is it a auto-include must-have. You can swap it out, but if you actually have it, put it in, folks. Mausoleum Secrets. It is Undergrowth. Search your library for a black card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library, and it costs you 2. Occame Adversary. What a great card out of Throne of Eldraine. Wow, and it's an uncommon. Boy, I love this card. This spell costs 2 less to cast if its opponent controls a green permanent. And statistically, that's probably going to be happening. And it's got Death Touch. But, oh wait, even better. Whenever Occame Adversary deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Love this card. I mean, yeah, run that card. Plunge into Darkness for 2. It's an instant. Choose 1. Sacrifice any number of creatures, then you gain 3 life for each sacrificed creature, or pay X life, then look at the top X cards of your library. Put one of those cards into your hand and remove the rest from the game. Or you can entwine it, which means you can choose both if you pay the entwine cost, and you get to do both. Lovely, lovely. All right, Razaketh the Foul-Blooded. It is a 5 black 8/8 legendary creature demon flyer trample. Pay 2 life, sacrifice another creature, search your library for a card, and put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. Oh man, so you likely will not even have to pay the cost of this. It can probably be fetched right out of your graveyard because of how the mechanics and the synergies are going with this build. Skull Clamp. You got those 1/1 tokens out? Well, this is going to help you start drawing like a mofo. It's a 1-drop equipped creature, gets +1/-1. When an equipped creature is put into a graveyard, draw 2 cards, and it only costs you 1 to equip. So we can start sacking those 1/1 critters and just start drawing through our deck like we have. No need of worrying about draw. All right, Survival of the Fittest. It is a 2-drop enchantment. You can spend 1 green, choose and discard a creature card. Search your library for a creature card. Reveal that card to all players and put it into your hand. Shuffle your library afterwards. Oh, fantastic. Because we don't see discarding a creature card as a downside. So we're all about this card in this deck. Sullivan Library, the most janky broken card in all of green for draw, and it's fantastic, and we're gonna run it. It's an enchantment at the beginning of your draw step. You may draw 2 additional cards. If you do, choose 2 cards in your hand drawn this turn. For each of those cards, pay 4 life or put the card on top of your library. Oh man, what a great card. All right, Vampiric Tutor. We are also running this. You know, pay 2 life, search your library for any 1 card, shuffle your library, then put that card on top of your library. Now, for these tutors, you can certainly put in cheaper budgetary cards that cost you a few more. You know, just it's fine. It's gonna kind of start sliding you out of the cEDH realm, but that's okay if that's not what you're going for. I mean, you can certainly run like a Diabolic Tutor instead, something like that. Absolutely. Absolutamundo. Worldly Tutor. Great tutor in green. Search your library for a creature card and reveal that card. Put it on the top of your library. Great. Great, great, great. And that brings us full circle. Oh, don't forget to hit that like button, and thanks for sticking around till the end. Meren of Clan Nel Toth is a very efficient, very fast, rampalicious deck. It's gonna do some crazy things with those experience counters. You're gonna be pulling things out of your graveyard like you cannot imagine. It is very competitive build. And like I said at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end here, you can certainly swap out some of these rather spendy cards. You could swap out the land base. You don't have to be running all those fetch lands. It does work very efficiently with certain other cards. And then you're going to see the price of this deck go down, down, down. So, but if not, you can certainly run it as is and have a very, very competitive deck that's going to hold up throughout and against a lot of other very top tier decks. Meren of Clan Nel Toth is a fantastic card for a commander, and this is a great build, and we really enjoyed showing it to you. Thanks for being a friend of the gathering. Check out our other episodes, check out our other deck techs, and thank you for your support. Check you later.